They think calm is weakness. They believe your silence means you're finished, shattered, broken, and left to decay. But they don't understand calm. Calm isn't surrender. It's a choice. It's the final breath before the battle begins. It's the hush before the storm rips through everything. Calm isn't peace. It's patience forged in fire. You think I don't know what it's like to hold it all inside, to burn within while wearing a stone-cold face that reveals nothing but promises everything. They mock you thinking you've gone soft. They assume you've lost, and that's exactly why you're winning. Calm is a power they never anticipate. Rage is loud, predictable, obvious, but calm is relentless. It doesn't shout, it doesn't strike, it observes, it waits, and when it moves, it ends things decisively. You think you need to answer every insult? You think you must justify yourself to people who don't care to understand? You think your worth depends on how loudly you can roar when they jab at you? Number. That's their game. They crave your reaction, your chaos, your attention, your calm, your stillness. It's louder than their noise. Have you ever seen a lion chase a fly? Number. But flies buzz around a lion constantly. You don't need to respond to every slight. You don't need to stoop just because they've got a stage to shout from. Your job is to become untouchable, and that starts with calm. You level up in silence. You gather their disrespect like kindling, and when the moment comes, you don't knock. You set their whole circus ablaze. Let me tell you something this noisy world doesn't teach anymore. Discipline is power, and calm is its highest form. Be precise with your silence, deliberate with your stillness. While they yell, you plan. While they post, you build. While they chase empty validation, you carve a path to something greater. They'll think you faded, irrelevant, forgotten. Let them erase your name from their minds. And when you rise, when your silence turns to action, they'll remember, not the soft version they mocked, but the one they can't control, can't provoke, can't shake, the one who ignores nonsense and makes moves that demand attention. Ever notice something? The loudest people always needing to be seen, always proving something. They're the ones crumbling in private. Real power doesn't need a spotlight. Real growth doesn't need a megaphone. And healing is raw. It's quiet. It's solitary. But it forges something lethal, a version of you they can't survive. Calm builds that. Calm shapes a blade from a wounded soul, and your soul, it's been through enough. You don't need to roar anymore. Let your silence remind them who you are. Let your progress blind them. Let your distance be their punishment, because those who thought they could break you won't even be able to reach you now. They'll test you over and over. They'll poke, lie, vanish, return, manipulate, tarnish your name, beg for mercy, blame you, cry, smile, stab, embrace, all to get one thing, a reaction, a sign they still control your peace. But when you stay calm, when you refuse to give it to them, that's when you win. That's when the tables turn. Calm isn't weakness. It's a crown. And those who wear it, they've already won the game. Let me hit you with something real. The moment you stop explaining yourself is when respect begins. The day you stop reacting is when they start reflecting. And when you stop chasing, they start collapsing. That's the cycle. It doesn't bend for anyone, but it starts with a choice, a brutal one, to stay calm when every fiber of you screams for vengeance, to stay silent when your ego begs to roar. to walk away when your pride itches to fight. It's not easy. That's why so few master it. That's why so few become untouchable. But you're learning, slowly, painfully, quietly, but surely. So stay calm. Stay cold, watch everything, say nothing, and when the time comes, dismantle everything they thought you'd never rebuild. The loudest revenge is silence that grows into greatness. The calmest man is always the most dangerous. They'll call you heartless for not reacting. They'll say you've changed because you don't jump at their tears anymore. They'll whisper you don't care. But what they won't admit is that your silence terrifies them. You used to be predictable, soft, easy to rattle. Now you're unreadable, calculated, steady. That's the scariest version of you they've ever faced, because true silence, focused, intentional silence, shows you're no longer swayed by emotion. You're done proving yourself, chasing closure, or entertaining chaos. That kind of silence is the dawn of dominance. They can't argue with someone who's left the game. They can't manipulate a shadow. They can't break someone who's already rebuilt. From ashes, you stayed calm, and that calm became strategy, control, untouchability. Now they're the ones shouting into the void you left behind. Let me ask you this. What did reacting ever get you? Think about it. When you clapped back at their disrespect, did they respect you more? When you begged them to stay, did they love you deeper? When you argued to defend yourself, did they finally see your pain? Number. All it did was show you were still within reach, still tethered to their opinions, their presence, their validation. You handed them power every time. But calm is different. Calm says, I don't need you to hear my side. Calm says, I've outgrown the chaos you thrive on. Calm says, you can't disturb my peace anymore. That's where true growth starts. When you stop performing, stop explaining, stop begging to be seen, and just become undeniable. They'll misread your calm. They'll think you're cold, that you've turned into Bane. Let them. Let them paint you as the villain in the minds of people who don't matter. You don't owe anyone your story. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to justify walking away, going silent, focusing on yourself. Calmness is choosing peace over battles with people who never deserved your energy. And when they see you thriving without them, moving without reaction, healing without revenge, that's when it lands. That's when they realize your calm was the moment they lost all power over you. They'll come back. Don't be fooled. They always do when they see they can't trigger you anymore. Not out of love, but out of confusion, fear, pride. They don't get your silence, and it unnerves them. You used to be so open, so emotional, so available. Now you're calm, distant, focused, unbothered. It shatters their ego, their control. Silence is a mirror. It forces them to face themselves. No distractions, no drama, just truth. And that truth, it's the loudest scream you could ever give. Not with words, not with anger, but with your absence, your growth, your refusal to be the old you they could manipulate. Stay calm. Even when they underestimate you, lie about you, laugh at your silence, they'll stop laughing when they see your stillness turn into strength, your absence into preparation. While they mocked, you built. While they watched, you worked. While they thought you were done, you became dangerous. The world always underestimates the calm, until the calm return with everything they swore you'd never have. That's your power. That's your weapon. Not noise, not explanations, but results. Cold, silent, undeniable. In that silence, you'll find something sacred. Peace. Not the fake kind people flaunt online. Not the kind you pretend to have while breaking inside. Real peace. The kind that doesn't need attention, doesn't chase love, doesn't care who left or stayed. The kind that says, I've walked through hell and I'm still calm. That peace is earned through suffering, betrayal, heartbreak, silence. And once you taste it, you'll never go back to who you were. The old you was reactive, loud, desperate. The new you, strategic, steady, unreachable. So be calm, even when it stings, even when your hands tremble, your heart screams. Be calm. Nothing terrifies this world more than a man who no longer needs it. Calm is armor they can't pierce. It's the one thing they never expected you to master. And now that you have, you're dangerous in ways they'll never comprehend. They'll feel your absence more than they ever valued your presence. That's the thing about calm. When you were loud, begging, explaining, Hannah felt powerful. They fed off it knowing your heart was in it. But now that you're calm, now that you don't text, don't ask, don't show up, don't argue, they're starving for the attention they took for granted. The world doesn't speak the language of silence, but it listens closely. Silence creates space, and in that space, guilt festers, regret grows, doubt creeps in, their minds race. Did I push too far? Is he gone for good? Why isn't he chasing me anymore? Those questions echo, tormenting them, because silence forces them to confront themselves. You don't need to clap back. You don't need to announce your healing. You just need to be better, quietly. Want to know how to crush an ego? How to destroy those who fed on your pain? Be calm. Be silent. Let them think you're broken, finished, irrelevant. Let them bask in their illusion. Then, when the time's right, resurface with results. A life without them moves beyond their grasp. When they see what silence built, regret hits like lightning. That's when their world spins, because the calm one became everything they never thought you could be without them. But it's not about revenge. Not really. That's just a byproduct. The real game is self-mastery. It's training yourself not to react to disrespect, not to explain when misunderstood, not to engage when provoked. That's the war most lose, the war within. Anyone can scream, throw punches, write essays to be heard, but not everyone can sit in the fire and stay silent. That's power, that's control, that's royalty. The untriggerable control the board. When you reach that level, you stop chasing love, approval, or understanding. You move in silence, and the dust you leave behind does the talking. Calm isn't numbness or indifference. It's choosing your battles. It's knowing your energy is precious, and not everyone can afford it. Calm is seeing betrayal, disrespect, manipulation, and walking away, not out of weakness, but because you're strong enough to know engaging weakens you. You've got empires to build, healing to do, levels to reach that these clowns can't even name. So you stay calm, not for them, for you. Chaos burns time. Calm builds legacies. Calm brings clarity, letting you see who's real and who's just loud. Once you have that clarity, noise will never blind you again. They'll call you cold for not reacting. Say you've changed because you stopped playing their game. Good. Let them. They never respected your warmth, so now they'll fear your silence. They'll throw bait, try to guilt you, dig up the past, make you doubt your stillness. Don't break. You fought too hard for this silence, bled for this calm, suffered for this peace. Don't toss it away for their words or tears. Calm doesn't mean emotionless. It means emotions in check. Choosing strength over fleeting satisfaction. That strength grows every time you hold back. Observe instead of react. Stay focused while they spiral. You win quietly, completely. When they ask what happened to you, when they say you've changed or don't care anymore, smile. They're right. You're not the same. You've evolved, shed the skin that begged, reacted, cried for people unworthy of your tears. Now, you move differently. You respond with distance. Your absence speaks louder than words. And that version of you, the calm, steady, silent storm, that's the one they never saw coming. That's the one they can't handle. They thought your silence meant you were done, out of the game. They only understand noise, drama, shouting, explanations. That's how they measure worth. But you vanished into the shadows and rebuilt yourself quietly, ruthlessly. That kind of comeback isn't just painful, it's unforgettable. You stopped calling, caring, showing up where you were never truly seen. That choice to pull back, to grow in silence, to stay calm when you craved revenge, that was the turning point. That's when you became dangerous. They didn't just lose your attention, they lost access to a version of you that no longer exists. Let them talk. Let them say you switched up, got cold, turned distant. That's how they describe someone they can't manipulate anymore. They want you reactive, emotional, because that's when you're easy to read, easy to use. But when you go calm, when you stop explaining, stop trying to prove you're better, they fumble. They second guess. They spin stories to make sense of your stillness because they can't control it. They never could. They just fooled themselves into thinking your emotions gave them power. But all you were doing was feeling too much for people who deserved nothing, giving a loud world the last of your energy. Now you know better. Staying calm doesn't mean you didn't break or weren't angry. It means you turned pain into a weapon, not to attack, but to rise. They call the calm ones boring? Fine, let them. Calm people see everything, the room, the energy, the shifts, the fakeness. They say nothing, but notice everything. That awareness becomes armor, strategy. A lion doesn't swat at mosquitoes. It's not worth the energy. That's you now. Not every insult deserves a comeback. Not every betrayal needs confrontation. Sometimes the greatest punishment is simply being inaccessible. The best revenge is letting them watch you win from the seats they chose when they walked away. Maybe part of you misses the noise, the chaos, the drama that felt like attention. That's normal. That's addiction speaking. You were hooked on proving your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you, but now you know. Peace isn't loud. Love isn't confusing. Loyalty isn't a question mark. Silence is sacred. You earned it through disappointment, pain, being underestimated, time and again. You earned the right to disengage, to outgrow those who only wanted your energy when it suited them. Don't look back. Don't explain. Don't entertain. Let them sit with the version of you they created. The one who doesn't pick up, doesn't respond, doesn't bleed. They'll romanticize the past. Remember when we talked every day? Yeah, you remember. And you remember how drained you felt, how invisible you were, how you held the connection together alone. Now, they want nostalgia to fix what they broke? Nostalgia doesn't erase disrespect. Memories don't undo manipulation. Real love doesn't come with confusion. Calm taught you that. Calm showed you who's real when you stopped giving, stopped showing up. Most vanished right after. That's how you know it was never love. It was access, convenience, comfort. Now that you've revoked it, now that you're calm, private, unavailable, they panic, but it's too late. You don't need closure, revenge, or their apologies. Your silence said it all. You've become someone beyond their reach, not out of arrogance or bitterness, but because you finally know your worth. And when you know your worth, you go quiet. You stop proving it. You start living it calmly, powerfully, unapologetically. Why do they poke at you when you go silent? Why the sudden texts after weeks of nothing, throwing out memes or how are you to test the waters? It's not care, it's control. Your calm exposes their flaws. They can't handle the void you left. Silence is a mirror, forcing them to hear their own noise, to face what they did when no one was watching. Your absence didn't sting right away. Your silence did. The calls you didn't make, the messages you didn't send, the reactions you didn't give. That stillness echoed. Each whisper reminded them you were the real one, solid, consistent. They mistook your presence for permanence, your absence, your silence. That's when they felt it in their chest. They'll reach out, testing the waters with a joke, a memory, a, hey, it's not love, it's curiosity. Can they still shake you? Can they waltz back into your calm world like they didn't wreck it? Don't fall for it. Silence changed you. You no longer bleed for those who enjoyed your suffering. You don't explain your worth to people who measured it by how much chaos you could endure. The best part, you're not even angry anymore. You're focused, cold, distant, but peaceful. The kind of peace that sees traps before they're set, that says, I'm not coming back. Your calm shook their world more than your loudest breakdown ever did. They were ready for tears, rage, reactions, but not for nothing. They weren't ready for you to stop caring. That detachment, that indifference, it's the punishment no apology can erase. People can handle anger, dismiss pain, but indifference, that's when they realize they were never in control, just borrowing what you allowed. Now that you've taken it back, your time, your mind, your peace, they're left with the silence they created, the silence they deserve. There's something deadly about choosing calm over chaos. It's not giving up, it's leveling up. You don't need to yell to be heard, argue to prove a point, or defend your name in rooms you've outgrown. That old you is gone. In its place stands someone who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't flinch, someone who walks away with dignity, even when it hurts. Because you know now, not everyone deserves your presence. Not everyone is worthy of the man you've become. The more you protect your peace, the more chaos filters itself out, without a fight, without a sound. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to destroy them. Life will, regret will, time will. You just stay calm and let their consequences unfold while they scramble to replace what they never valued. You build, you focus, you rise. And when they see what your silence created, it won't be a version of you they can approach. It'll be one they fear, respect, and forever regret losing. That's the real win. Not anger, not payback, but evolution, growth, silence. Nothing haunts the careless more than the calm man who refused to break. It's wild, isn't it? The same people who drained your soul now wonder why you don't pick up anymore. The ones who made you doubt your worth act shocked when your absence hits like a weight. But this is what happens when a man tires of noise, of being misunderstood, disrespected, toyed with. He doesn't explode or plead. He shuts down, not out of weakness, but understanding, a deep, quiet, lethal understanding that peace is worth more than presence, that silence speaks louder than explanations, that calm is not defeat, it's evolution, the loud you, the emotional you, that was survival. The calm you, that's power. Once you tap into that inner silence where no one can touch you, you never go back. You realize not everyone deserves closure. Not everyone deserves to know how they hurt you. Some people deserve silence as their final conversation. Let them wrestle with the ghost of who you used to be. Let them wonder why you stopped showing up, stopped answering, stopped caring. Don't give them the satisfaction of knowing they broke you. Let your calm tell the story. Let your distance be the explanation. Silence doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It doesn't prove anything. It just is. Those who fed off your attention, they starve in your absence, suffocate in the void. The calmer you stay, the louder that silence screams in their heads. Every day, every memory they took for granted now ringing like a bell they can't unhear. They'll call you cold, say you don't love them anymore, but you didn't change. You evolved. You grew out of chaos, matured beyond emotional slavery, tired of dancing in a burning room just to warm someone else. Now that you're calm, you're untouchable. The calmest man in the room is the most dangerous because he sees everything, hears everything, remembers everything, yet says nothing. That's silence. That's strategy. That's patience. A bomb waiting to level the game. You don't owe them a word, a text, a goodbye. If they cared, they'd have listened when you were loud, changed when you were patient, stayed when you were breaking. They didn't. They kept taking. Now they face the aftermath, the empty space where you used to be. Maybe that space teaches them something, that a calm man isn't broken. He's a man who chose himself fully, finally, in a world that thrives on noise, reaction, manipulation. Your calm makes you rare, powerful, unforgettable. Stay calm, stay focused, stay unbothered. Those who mocked your silence will one day wish they had something left to say to you. But by then, you'll be too far gone, too elevated, too healed. All they'll have is the silence they laughed at, the silence that now roars louder than anything they've ever heard. Let that silence echo through your actions. Let it be the soundtrack to your comeback, the roar they never saw coming. Real strength isn't how loud you can scream, it's how calm you can stay when the world tries to shake you. One day, they'll sit alone in a noisy room, feeling the silence you left behind like a weight they can't shake. Silence doesn't end when the conversation stops. It lingers, settling into their minds at 2 a.m. with memories, missed chances, and guilt dressed as questions. What if I didn't push him away? What if I listened when he warned me? Why did he go quiet so fast? They thought calm was weakness, your silence surrender. But they didn't see your silence was a door closing, one they'll never reopen. calm wasn't the end of your emotion, it was the end of your tolerance. When a man reaches that point, he becomes untouchable, building from pain quietly, strategically, permanently. You used to be too open, too soft for those who sharpened their words on your kindness. You explained to deaf ears, forgave without apologies, waited as they walked away. Not anymore. Calm showed you clarity. Distance reveals true intentions. Silence exposes who was only loud for an audience. Now, you see the fake love, the convenience, the manipulation, masked as care. With each silent breath, you let it fall away. The lies, the pressure, the weight of trying to be understood in a world not built for you. They'll never admit it, but your calm made them uneasy. Chaos was their comfort zone. They knew how to handle shouting, blame, arguments, but silence, detachment, that hit differently. They realized you weren't just angry. You were done. Done trying, hoping, repeating yourself to people who pretended not to hear. Now that your voice, your presence, your energy is gone, they understand. Not because you explained, but because your silence left them alone with themselves. And for people like that, facing themselves is a war they'll lose without you to take the hits. So if you're tempted to respond, to explain one more time, don't. The you who needed their understanding is gone. Some things are better left unsaid. Some people need your absence more than your voice. That's not cold. It's justice. Your peace is sacred now, your calm earned. Nobody gets to disturb it unless they've proven themselves worthy. Most won't. Most never were. Let them sit outside the gates they burned down. Let them talk, guess, regret. You keep building, walking, rising, silently, steadily, unshakably. When you mastered calm, you became what this world fears but can't destroy. A man who no longer responds, yet controls everything. One day, maybe not soon, you'll sit in silence with the windows open, the world feeling distant. That's when it hits the real peace. Not the kind you fake to survive the day, not the kind you post to convince yourself you're fine, but the kind that fills your chest, wraps your bones like armor, the kind that reminds you how far you've come from the you who trembled at their silence, panicked at their distance, chased their indifference. That man is gone, buried under the pain he endured without showing the world how much it hurt. What rose in his place is calm, cold, focused. A man who doesn't just survive betrayal, but turns it into fuel, who drowns noise in silence. They didn't expect this version. They thought heartbreak would break you, lies would destroy you, that you'd stay down, begging for answers that never came. But you went quiet, went dark, disappeared into yourself, and did what they couldn't. You healed. Not the pretty kind with quotes and yoga, but the raw kind, in the trenches, sitting with your pain, dissecting your past, facing your guilt and shame, saying, "I'm not running anymore." You became unrecognizable to those who only loved you when you were broken. Let them wonder, replay every message left on read, every cold silence you gave when they crawled back. That's the real closure, not spoken, but felt. When they realize your silence isn't temporary, the door isn't locked, it's gone. No way back, no reset, no apology scene for a second chance. They burned the bridge, and you let it turn to ash. Then you built elsewhere, quietly. Now they stand on the edge of what used to be yours, knowing they'll never find it again. You don't give your peace to those who treated it like a playground. You're not bitter. You're better, guarded, aware. You've counted every scar, buried every late apology, walked through fire with skin too thick for their weak words. Don't explain your calm to those who disrespected your chaos. Don't justify your silence to those who mocked your pain. You owe them nothing. Let your life speak. Your glow be a language they can't unlearn. The world may spin loud, try to pull you back into the noise, but you've found something they don't know exists. Power in stillness, a throne built from patience, a crown carved from self-control. You're no longer chasing validation. Being calm doesn't mean you're numb. It means you've mastered your storm, turned their chaos into your precision. That energy can't be faked or bought. That calm is rare, terrifying. You don't recognize the old you anymore. The one who begged for clarity, stayed up overthinking their silence, replaying words like a broken record, hoping the ending would change. That you was good, honest, full of love, but didn't know how to protect himself. He gave too much, too fast, mistaking potential for loyalty, gestures for intention, attention for love. Every burn taught him, but he kept pouring himself into the fire, hoping to warm those who only came to feel his flame, never to keep it alive. Now you carry your warmth like a weapon, something to be earned, not given. If they can't match your peace, they don't touch it. Calm taught you to stop over-explaining. People hear what they want, not what you say. They twist your honesty into weakness, your love into leverage. But silence doesn't bend, doesn't negotiate. When you go calm, you stop inviting misunderstanding, stop handing your heart's blueprint to those who break it for sport. Now you sit with silence like an old friend, not awkward, not uncomfortable, just real, certain. In that stillness, your power grows. The world can't read you anymore. You were once predictable, emotional, open. Now you're unreadable. That calm face they mocked now haunts them. That steady silence lingers louder than any argument. You've grown to love the quiet. Not because it's always peaceful, but because it's honest. Silence doesn't lie, gaslight, or feed you breadcrumbs to watch you starve. In the quiet, you found yourself, not the version they defined, not the one you became to be loved, but you. The you who stands tall without approval, who doesn't shrink to make others feel big, whose presence shifts the room's temperature without trying. You move with purpose now. You speak when it counts. You choose your energy like a king chooses his army, with intention. If that makes you too cold for some, let them freeze. You're not here to warm hands that only held you when it was convenient. Calm isn't just an attitude, it's a transformation, a reward for choosing peace after drowning in war, for choosing silence when you had every reason to scream. It's the evolution of a man who learned the hard way. Not everyone who claps for you wants you to rise. You don't hate them, you just don't see them anymore. You stopped making space for those who only took, stopped holding doors for those who left without a glance. Your calm didn't just create distance, it set standards, built walls, raised the price of access. Those who had it for free can't even find the gate now. Let them talk. Assume, wonder why you're so quiet. They don't need to know your silence is built on scars, stitched with the threads of nights spent doubting your worth. They don't need to understand that this You, the one who doesn't chase, argue, or flinch, was born in fire, shaped in pain, sharpened in solitude, and he's not going anywhere. You've buried the old you with honor. From that grave rose someone unstoppable. Silent, yes, but never weak again.